Howdy, Immortalium here. I'm using the new lighting to try to improve the video, so I've turned off the gain. Hopefully this looks better. Also I think the lighting suits this room a bit better because I'm able to put the lighting in the middle and have it more evenly distributed. But I would like to hear your guys' opinions. In my previous video, only one other person has actually commented on the lighting. So, you know, I'd like to hear some opinions, see if I should keep going with this. Anyway, that's not the point of this video. The point of this video is to review the Slayers Evolution R, which is a continuation of Slayers Revolution. Now, Slayers Evolution R can basically be broken up into two parts. The first part is basically 5 episodes long, and basically it's just a bunch of comedy. Now, in fairness, these 5 episodes are among the best comedy I've seen in the Slayers. I was roaring laughing at most of it. Just hilarious. Basically, the first episode of this season, we encounter a new character called Nama. Nama is a spirit trapped in a suit of armor, and she's looking for a way to get back her body. Now, Nama is implied to be a character that I've never seen, but is very well known in the Slayers community, called Naga. Now, Naga only appears in the films, the OVAs, and some of the novels. So I've not encountered any of those, and therefore don't know her. But she's amnesiac, so she doesn't know who she is, and she was a riot. She's just that klutz in a suit of armor, which, as you can imagine, is, you know, a very good premise to go from. Like, there was an episode where Amelia, she got stuck inside Nama's suit of armor, and they both had to try to work together to actually walk and to fight and everything, and it was just hilarious. There was also a brilliant melodrama parody episode where the mother of a fish family, the fish people being, you know, a part of the Slayers world, and claims that Gowrie is the father of her children. And as the episode continues on, the more and more melodrama gets mounted up, and it's just hilarious. So I was quite disappointed to see Nama go at episode 5, considering how enjoyable she was, but she wasn't that important for the main story, so I thought that was okay. And if you're wondering why did they just throw in a bunch of kind of random funny episodes, that's a common thing to do in Slayers in the middle part of it. So basically the beginning of this part, taking the first Slayers Revolution as the first 13 episodes of a 26 episode series, the first 5 episodes of this season would be quite standard for Slayers. Now, the next 8 episodes are far more dramatic and far more serious. There is a character who was introduced in Revolution, but is more developed here, called Zuma. He's an assassin, and it's implied that he has some kind of vendetta against Lena. He didn't simply become an assassin in order, like, he wasn't hired to kill her. He became an assassin in order to actually kill her. She caused him to become an assassin. I thought he had a lot of potential to become one of the best of villains in Slayers, because all these other villains, all the big villains, have always been demons, and their goal is to destroy the world, which is quite normal. So I thought someone who's actually get after Lena is to be because she's actually done something wrong. You know, I thought that was a great idea and a great premise. Unfortunately, Zuma, by the end, kind of devolved into this kind of maniacal, almost monster, with hardly any redeeming values or any interesting aspects. He became quite two-dimensional. We never got a proper explanation as to why he was after Lena either. There was a bit of implication, but I would have liked to see it expanded upon, because the explanation they gave, the implication, didn't seem strong enough for someone to actually become an assassin and to go after one specific person, you know? So I thought he had a lot of potential, but I found him disappointing in the end. The rest of the series, though, is great. There's a lot of, you know, great little character moments from the crew. The animation, I would actually argue, is better in this season than even previous season, Revolution. So, you know, I was pleased as hell with that. I would have thought it might have dropped in quality, because from what I saw online, the DVD and Blu-ray sales weren't as high as, you know, they should have been. But it was still fantastically animated, so, you know, I can't complain there. Although, you know, the digital animation does cause them to not look as appealing as in the previous incarnations, you know. But that doesn't matter. I thought this was a very fun series, a kind of a great season. In fact, I would actually say that it's probably the second best in the whole Slayers franchise, from what I've seen, of course, Slayers TV series. So, I had a blast with it. I would highly recommend that anyone who's a fan of Slayers get it. Even if you didn't like Revolution, get this. You'll probably prefer it more, like I did. So anyway, I thought, as this is the last Slayers series, that I would actually do a ranking of of the Slayers TV series based on my opinion, just to kind of fill out this video and to also kind of give it some kind of conclusion, because in fairness it's a long series and I've reviewed every one of them except for the first one on this channel, but they have changed a little bit every so often, so I just want to point out. So I'm going to go from worst to best. So my least favourite season of the Slayers would have to be the first season. The first season suffered from quite mediocre animation, the voice cast, the English voice cast changing, like the actor who plays Zelgadis and the actress who plays Amelia change mid-season, and also just the storytelling was quite, how can I put it? The storytelling was kind of volatile. It didn't seem to really know when to be dramatic and when to be comedic, so I found that quite problematic. Now, is it still a decent series? Yeah, but it's not Slayers at its best in my opinion. It's actually Slayers at its worst. Now, the next series after that would be Slayers Try. Now, Slayers Try is season 3 of the Slayers, and my problem with it is that it's quite lackluster overall. It's an improvement over the first season, simply because of the fact that it manages to actually keep its storytelling more consistent. Its comedy and its action scenes and drama mix better, but the new character, Philia, is kind of mediocre. The actual overall story is quite bland, and the villain is bland as well. But it's still a fun series, and I would recommend that you get it. Next would come Slayers Revolution. Now, Slayers Revolution, it's hilarious, it's got some great action sequences, better animation than the original lot of series, although I would argue that from an artistic perspective it does drop in quality, but I would take the animation over the art. So, Slayers Revolution, I would definitely recommend that one get it. Also, some of the voice cast changes, which is a bit disorienting, particularly since, for example, Zelos, the first scene we see of Zelos is the characters recognizing his voice, but the fact is his voice actor has changed, so we don't recognize his voice. It's a bit disorienting. Although I am really happy to see what they did for Sylphiel, because I thought, the original voice actors were fairly poor for her. But this would come in at number 3. Then comes the Slayers Evolution R, which I just reviewed and just explained. It's a better season than the previous one, and I would recommend that any Slayers fans get this. It's great. But my favourite season of the Slayers is still the second season, Slayers Next. Now, why is it my favourite? For one, the combination of comedy and action is at its best in this season, and drama. Unlike other seasons of the Slayers, there's actually episodes in this where I was, laughing and then feeling emotionally moved, which is something that no other Slayer season has actually managed to do. They always had to do it separately, but this actually managed to do it in both, which is fantastic, I'm thinking. Also, the other thing I loved about this season was the introduction of Zelos and Martina. Zelos is at his best in this season, in my opinion. I don't think he ever reaches the same sense of cool and awesome and funny that he is in this season. I think in all the other seasons, he's still a good character, but I think this is his peak. And then Martina, which we never see again. In any other series, she might be seen as a bland character, falling in love with every man she sees, and all that jazz. But the fact that she butts head with Lena really, puts her over the top, in my opinion. In the rest of the series, with the exception of possibly Pakota, there's no character really who's willing to butt heads properly with Lena and actually, survive. So I think she added a lot of depth for that relationship, which I guess, no, a foil maybe you could call it. I don't know. But anyway, and the animation, there's actually some amazing looking animation in this, which is particularly amazing considering the fact that this is the original, part of the original Slayers kind of trilogy of seasons from the 90s. So I would argue that this is my favourite season of Slayers, and I would highly recommend you get this. I would recommend you see season 1 first, just to see how all the characters met. But even if you don't like season 1, give this a go. You can give up on Slayers if you don't like this season, but at least give this a go. So that's my ranking of them. So just as a quick kind of summary. So my least favourite is the first season, the Slayers. Second least favourite would be Slayers Try. Middle of the bunch would be Slayers Revolution. Second favourite would be Slayers Evolution R. And then finally, Slayers Next is my favourite. So that's kind of my overview of the Slayers TV franchise. I'm not sure if I'll ever be able to get the films or OVAs, just simply because of the fact that they were published by, they were released by ADV, which are now out of business. I don't know. Plus, the voice actress for Lena is different apparently, which is a bit annoying. So, I don't know if I'd want to... I would like to see them at some point, I guess. So, anyway. So, this brings it to a conclusion of the franchise. I'm unlikely to do any Slayers reviews in the near future. So, yeah, cool. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and bye-bye.